When did you learn that good things come to those who wait? It was the day I found out my wife was cheating because the kids casually mentioned that Uncle Steve had been helping mommy feel better at night. The betrayal hit harder than anything I'd ever felt. But I knew if I stayed, it would destroy me. So I filed for divorce. During the proceedings, I practically begged her to be reasonable about custody. She looked me right in the eyes and said, "I would never keep your children from you." And for the first 6 months, she actually kept her word. We had this decent routine. Every Friday, I'd pick up the kids, no drama. She even texted me little updates about their school days. We sat together at soccer games like normal divorced parents. Then one Friday, I pulled up to her house, and it was empty. A for sale sign in the yard. Not a single thing left inside. I dropped to my knees on the lawn. Because I knew what she'd done. She'd taken my kids. I called her phone over and over, no answer. Eventually, I noticed a voicemail from 6 a.m. that morning. Her voice was so casual. "We've relocated to Seattle for Steve's job. The kids are already enrolled in school." Like she was telling me she changed their dentist. I sat in that driveway for an hour, just frozen. She had been planning this for months, while smiling at me every single Friday. The next morning, I was served court papers. She was claiming I was an absent father who put work before his kids. And I realized she'd been documenting my business trips the entire time. I called, texted, begged just to hear my kids' voices. 3 days later, she finally answered. But instead of explaining anything, she just said she'd allow monthly video calls, like she was doing me a favor. I agreed. She handed the phone to our 8-year-old. He cried immediately. "Why can't we see you this weekend?" And she cut in. "Daddy's too busy with work." Then hung up. After that, my calls wouldn't go through. She texted me saying I'd used up my call for the month. I was furious. I refused to let her get away with it. The next week, I liquidated my 401k to hire a lawyer who warned me the odds weren't in my favor, but we'd try. I quit my high-paying, travel-heavy job and took a local position that paid 40% less, just to prove I was prioritizing my kids. Every other weekend, I maxed out credit cards to fly to Seattle. My kids would run to me in the airport like I'd returned from war. We spent weekends in cheap hotel rooms, building blanket forts and eating McDonald's because that's all I could afford. But they didn't care. We were together. Those weekends were perfect until drop-off Sundays. My ex would say things like, "Daddy doesn't live here. This is just vacation." And "Steve is your dad now." I smiled through it, documenting every denial of extra time. After 2 years of never missing a single visit, the judge finally gave me a week each summer. And when the kids got older, they started asking questions. "Why does mom lie about you?" It felt good knowing they saw through her. A year later, karma came knocking. My phone rang at midnight. It was her, crying so hard I almost hung up. She begged me to stay on the line. Steve had cheated with a 25-year-old from his office. He left her for someone with no kids and no baggage. Then she said the one thing I never thought I'd hear: "Can you take the kids for a little while, just until I get back on my feet?" I asked the kids what they wanted. They both said, "We're tired of her drama. We want to stay with you." The judge reviewed my 3 years of perfect attendance and gave me full custody. Now, she flies from Seattle twice a month. She's the one complaining about how expensive it is. She's the one saying the schedule is unfair. Turns out, good things do come to those who wait, especially dads who refuse to give up.